At the end of your journey to the depth of yourself, to the centre of your soul, I would like to share with you my own experience of what I received from the spiritual friendship with Theresa of Jesus. Theresa, this effective guide through the space of the spirit, my interior castle and yours. Well, the Saint of Avila all the time teaches me an ambitious life. Living my life to the fullest. Today one would say that she teaches life to the maximum. The adventure which is called life. Why? 1. She lived by great ideals. She was reaching beyond her human capabilities, and she was not discouraged from having them realised. 2. She was constantly seeking, knowing that this most fascinating cognitive adventure leads into the innermost self. 3. She was brave, and without fear of ridicule she was entering into new to her and yet unexplored areas of life. 4. She acted on a grand scale, fighting mediocrity, indolence, sluggishness, and prejudices such as, because it can't be done. 5. She made decisions and then struggled with a hurricane. 6. She had her fears and felt weak when confronted with the affairs which seemed to be beyond her human powers, but she did not capitulate at the start. 7. She treated people with extraordinary motherly tenderness and sensitivity, being at the same time their sister and friend on the way to their common goal. 8. She trusted people and treated them with exceptional charity and mercy, which earlier she herself experienced from God. 9. She was not afraid of struggle, realising that as long as she kept up the fight, she could win. 10. She loved freedom, which is not about doing what you like, but about loving what you have. 11. She treated the past as a capital, and she was ready to learn from her mistakes a lesson in life wisdom. 12. She approached the future with hope, bravely embracing the unknown. 13. Humility, defined by her as walking in the truth, gave her a boundless horizon in looking at herself, at other people, the world, and life. 14. Renunciation connected with the effort of working on herself freed her heart. 15. Superbly defined determination eliminated from her life all manifestations of self-pity, whining, and grumbling about her fate. 16. Faithful in small matters. She was advancing towards the big ones, according to the principle from good to better. 17. During all her life, she was learning patience, repeating that patience attains all that it strives for. 18. She showed with her life that proper conversion comes to everybody, and that it does not have to take place very quickly, and not necessarily at the beginning of your way. 19. In fact, she was fighting all the time, and all the time she was experiencing conversion. 20. She was building up her saintliness on her shortcomings, and in continually offering herself to Jesus. 21. With equanimity she tackled tensions that were growing within her. 22. She was a person of concrete action, putting all her heart into what she was doing. 23. In everyday life she displayed an unusual sense of humour, and serenity of spirit. 24. In her life there was no dissonance between what is human and what is divine. 25. She did not treat prayer as an ascetic exercise and a means to intimacy with Jesus, but she treated it as this intimacy itself. Prayer was for her the end in itself, and not a means to an end. 26. She could rest at prayer, remaining close to Jesus and looking at him. 27. In the prose of everyday life, prayer was life for her, and life was prayer. 28. In addition to giving excellent and simple definitions of prayer, she also explained its different nuances. 29. She was in love with the humanity of Jesus, and she continually returned to it in her writings. 30. With her own experience, she confirmed that God is within your reach in the simplicity of his presence and action. 31. After the hardships of working on herself, she experienced a special action of the Holy Spirit, sealing her earlier efforts. 32. She saw her life as one great overshadowing by God, the Father of mercy. 33. She rediscovered Saint Joseph in the church, treating him as a specialist in everything. 34. In the interior castle, she described a fascinating journey to the centre of the soul, to learn how to live the heaven which already exists within oneself. 35. Until her death at the age of 67, Theresa had not lost anything of her temperament, but she had perfectly integrated into her personality feminine emotions with profound interior life. 36. She is for me primarily an expert on how not to complicate things. 37. A passionate woman who confirms with her life that God alone suffices. Solo Dios basta. Thank you, Theresa. It is good to have such a guide and such a good spiritual mother. My dearest. With this chapter we conclude our series of reflections on the interior castle and its author Theresa of Jesus. I wish each of you daily fascination with getting to know your inner world, which gives you a beautiful perspective on the outer world. On behalf of Father Mariusz, decalced Carmelite, I give you warm thanks and his blessing. Saint Theresa used to say,
"An excellent means of enjoying God is friendship with his friends."
So it is good that you have been here, participating in these meditations on Theresa's life and work. As a postscriptum, listen to a couple of thoughts of Sister Immaculata Adamska, Discalcid Carmelite, a great expert on Saint Theresa of Jesus.
Saint Theresa can be grasped only on the basis of contradictions and paradoxes. She loved God and man with a love that was boundless and without separation of one from the other. Saintliness that was attributed to her still during her lifetime did not suppress her inborn traits, and it did not completely quell her certain deficiencies and imperfections. It only tempered them and taught her to transform everything into splinters in order to kindle within her an ever greater flame of love combined with true humility of the heart. She became part of history in all the glory of her femininity, completely devoted to God and people. God did not destroy her human predispositions, but he greatly enriched them with his grace, so that Theresa can be an example of perfected humanity. Even when we look upon her as an example of Christian experience of God, based on perfect faith, hope and love, we see how in human terms she believed, trusted and loved. How she struggled with her limitations, falling down again and again, and then rising from the weakness of her nature. the reformer of Carmel and the Church, mother and mentor of spiritual life, finally the doctor of the Church, she remains for us an ever-present call to patiently build God's life on our human nature, with which we have been gifted by the Creator.
Cordial greetings and blessing from Father Mariusz, the Chalced Carmelite.